Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here today. Welcome to our webinar, How Yaamava Elevated F&B with Self-Service Tech and Strong Cross-Department Collaboration. My name is Kaylee Kuhn from TribalHub, and I am thrilled to be here today with the team from Agilysys. We're going to get started in just a second with our webinar, but while we're waiting, if you guys wouldn't mind popping in the chat and just letting me know, where are you all joining from today? Michelle and I are in our Gaylord office in Northern Michigan, where it is very cloudy and snowy. We did have a little bit of break away from the weather, but it is back here today.
I didn't even realize it was snowing until you just said that, and I
I
looked
know,
really
I
was like, "What is happening?"
know.
Oh,
Ooh, Vegas, look at
Vegas.
that.
Yeah, I see a lot of you people in here from all over.
All
Love
over.
it. CJ, Darren, Tim. Oh, I love it. It's very cool.
Awesome.
Hmm.
All right. Well, we are going to go ahead and get started with this webinar. Special thanks to our partners from Agilysys. Our presenters are David Bain and Thor. I will share my screen so that you guys can see what I am reading from. There we go. All right. Looks like I am having issues on my end here. There we go. Okay. So again, special thanks to our webinar partners from Agilysys. We have Thor Hansen, VP of Sales Engineering from Agilysys, as well as Dave Bain, Sales Engineer from Agilysys. And this session will be recorded on or for unlimited future viewing and find it on our TribalHub website. Today's top learning objectives are: what do you need to consider when implementing a new technology on your property, as well as what metrics to use to measure the success of guest self-service technology in F&B. And if you guys have any questions while we do the webinar, feel free to put that in the chat and we'll make sure to get those answered today. And then our final slide here is just showing you all that we do have an upcoming event in Jacksonville, Florida. It is our Cybersecurity Summit. So if you have any questions regarding that, please refer to our website again. And with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to Thor and David.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Callie. So, hello, everyone. This is Thor Hansen. I spearhead the team at Agilysys. And I want to first thank TribalHub for having us the opportunity to tell our partners out there in the tribal world. And again, to all of our tribal members, we are very appreciative of your time taken out and listening to the presentation that we're about to present to you. As Callie said, we can, if you have questions, put it into the chat. I will try to answer them as they come, or we may leave some of those for the end, depending on, if there's a question that David's going to go over, we'll quickly tell you that as well. But first thing from a housekeeping standpoint, as you may realize, unfortunately, Ricky Baja was not available to join.
Oh, looks like we're having a hard time hearing you, Thor. Can you double check your audio, maybe?
You got it?
Oh. Maybe David, if you can turn on your audio.
Can you hear us now?
There you go.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry.
Good.
As I was mentioning, from an operations standpoint, Ricky had some things come up that he was unfortunately not able to attend and present. But you're in great hands with David. He has been very involved with the Yaamava and especially with the food and beverage self-service technology that's available through Agilysys. So he's a great presenter of that. But again, I'm going to hand this over to him. Any questions, please put them in the chat. Thank you.
And I just want to verify you guys can see my screen.
Yep, looks good.
Awesome. So we already went over welcomes and introductions. I'm going to go over the Agilysys unified platform and kind of what are those collaboration outcomes, and then just going to go through that Q&A. So first of all, I just wanted to take a second to introduce Agilysys and Infogenesis as the point of sale. We have many ordering channels that allow you to be able to do ordering, whether that is self-service or being helped by a server or by a cashier. And it sits on one unified platform. This really allows us to be able to do many different types of implementations, and it can be all set up from one singular back office software called our IG Enterprise Configuration Manager. And really the beauty of that is it really gives us flexibility when it comes to clients like Yaamava, and they have a new sort of outlook on how they want to set up different food and beverage outlets. All that is one singular back office for us to be able to configure and be able to set those outlets up to have the best workflow that they need for those. So we are highly configurable for all venues, whether that is food halls, entertainment, bars, quick casual, full service restaurants, retail markets, lounges, and even fast food. When it comes to Yaamava, they were really looking to have a solution that could be flexible for them to really handle all of their different levels uh, of people that come in through them. We know that tribal casinos can get very busy and become very high volume at different times, depending if there's a show going on or in an event. And they really wanted to be able to expand their revenue with that, being able to, instead of going with the traditional sit-down restaurant, they saw that they were able to have higher volume and be able to take care of more people doing more of the food court sort of self-service atmosphere without having to increase their workload of staff behind there. For food halls and multi-revenue ordering. We are able to really deploy how you would like, whether that is QR codes where they're ordering from their own QR code, or that is a kiosk that they're going to order from the kiosk. And what they found is being able to do both gives the customer the flexibility to allow them to, order the way that they want, when they want, how they want. And you could actually see here in the background some of that ordering that they're ordering right from the kiosk. Our kiosks are configurable. They don't have to be a one-to-one for a revenue center. So they utilize that to be able to order from any kiosk that is along this wall here to order from any outlet across those different food halls. So you can really pick and choose from the same kiosk, what menu items that you want to have. Or be able to even say, hey, maybe I want 2 or 3 different menu items from 3 different locations. I can be able to select those different menu items. And once those items come through, they can come through to a KDS and kitchen printers that we can be able to help organize those. We can also be able to help throttle those orders as well and have different pickup stations. So maybe there's an outlet that you have that's a very high volume. Maybe it's a one singular type of place, but you have different pickup windows. We have the ability to be able to set those different expectations to be able to deliver to those guests. And then we also have multiple ways of being able to get back to those patrons, showing them that their order is ready, whether that is order status displays, whether that's a text message that they receive on their phone, or whether that is following along with their phone order and actually can be able to follow along that different order status. So really what this is doing is this is giving you one solution, whether it's for the employees or for the guests, setting it up with one singular source of truth, one place to configure all that, and then really one place to report. So you're able to see all of that revenue come through into one singular back office. And just kind of some of those features of that kiosk. All those items are all completely synced with your POS. They can put in a telephone number And that telephone number can not only recognize them as a loyalty member for your casino comps and points, where they can be able to redeem those different comps or points for certain items or receive different discounts. This also does help balance the employee and staff workload because a kiosk can work 24/7. It doesn't call out sick. You don't have to pay it its wages. It just runs for you there. And it's highly configurable. All different themes, how many different profit centers you want to be able to show on that kiosk. If you want to have a navigation bar to be able to have it ADA and low visibility to really be able to support really everyone. And then it can do that multi-venue ordering. And then that load balancing is what I had told you about, where if you're using maybe one venue, you want it to balance different pickup windows. We have that configurability as well. All of our self-service and point of sale products do also have the ability to be able to filter out by different preferences. So if I need a gluten allergy, I can filter my menu items by gluten allergy. If I am allergic to spicy food, I can see that. Or maybe I just want to look at what healthy options. They can be able to configure those in the point of sale and have those reflect in our self-service mode as well. And for our self-service, we have what's called on demand. And again, this is really just allowing the patron to come in and do I want to use a kiosk or do I want to use online ordering? If I use online ordering, you're going to have very similar workflow where I'm able to come in, order. I can order for now. We can choose to schedule orders to pick up later. They're going to see that full menu. They're going to see those different preferences. And then they're going to have all of their different payment options as well. So they can have the ability to do room charges. They can have the ability to be able to charge to their points and be able to redeem for those. And whether it's kiosk or the online ordering, all of these menus can be scheduled and they can be scheduled for a day or by a day part. So maybe Monday I have a different special on Mondays, a different special on Tuesdays, a different special on Wednesdays, or maybe it's day parts where it's, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So you can truly use that technology to meet the needs of your food and beverage platform. So once those orders come in, they come in through any one of our ordering channels, whether that is a point of sale, whether that is a kiosk, or whether that is online ordering, comes through into the kitchen, and we can have it come through with kitchen displays with KDS with bump bars. This can be ran on an iPad as well, and then also come in through regular kitchen printers. So you can choose how you want your kitchen operations to run as well. Maybe you only want an iPad just to tell the order that it's fulfilled and ready for pickup, but everything else in the kitchen is going to run off of kitchen printers. We have the flexibility to be able to meet those needs. And then how is that order shown back to your patrons? Is it shown by order status displays? Is it shown on their phone as they placed an order? Or if they placed an order on a kiosk, we have the ability to be able to text them that their order is ready for pickup. Additionally, we can have that trigger to any one of our partners of any one of our partners for our food lockers. So you can trigger that to go to our food lockers. And this is something that Yaamava did as well, was they wanted to have food lockers for a pickup concept called the Grove Express, where you're able to scan, enter in your information, and then you can be able to come and pick up your food and from that food locker, take your order and move on. So it really gets rid of that ability or need for somebody to hand them their food. It's just storing in the locker. They're able to come pick it up at their earliest convenience. And again, that is triggered by our KDS, which is our kitchen display systems. This is what helps do all of your order routing. This helps balance out your different profit centers. If you want to have different throttling, This is really that mechanism that helps with that. So just a couple of ways that this works, just kind of go through some of what our implementations have been. So on the right here, you kind of see a preview there of what Yaamava has done with a couple of their different outlets. You can see the guest is going in and placing his order, picking out the different items that they have for those outlets. Here's another outlet that they have, Tutu's Food Court. You can see that they're really highly showcasing the technology by having those screens above where the guests can actually scan a QR code and order from their own phone, or they can come up to the kiosk and be able to order from there. These kiosks do have upsell capabilities. So if I select one singular item, I can be able to say that item triggers maybe a recommendation for another item. So maybe if I order the burger, it recommends me to order a milkshake. Maybe if I order the turkey sandwich, it recommends me to order a cup of fruit. And that can be very intuitive based upon, what those guests or patrons are ordering from you. And then finally, we also have the ability in the cart view to be able to upsell from there as well. So maybe you have, 8 key items that you want to be able to order or to upsell. And that is one thing that we've seen with self-service is it really does increase upsells because there's a thing called guilt that the guest isn't really feeling if they're not telling it to the person that's taking that order. So I can be able to order that burger with the fries and the milkshake and throw some chili cheese on the fries and be able to upsell that guest and not have to have that guilt factor effective with it. Here's a couple other screenshots you can see that we have of Tutu's Food Court, the 909, and a couple other food courts that they have there. Again, we have flexibility when it comes to how you want to have these kiosks implemented. You can see these two are wall mounted with, again, always showcasing and really grabbing the attention of the patrons with signs above telling them this is where they can come and order, they can scan to order. The kiosk can even be used with screensavers or with different promotions. So you can encourage your patrons to be able to sign up for loyalty using those different screensavers, really never miss an offer. So then I can scan that QR code and I can sign up. Maybe I'm not a loyalty member as of now. So we really just want to give you the technology to be able to implement the way you want to implement. And you can utilize that technology in a lot of different ways to be able to, again, extend growing your loyalty program and just meeting your guest needs without having to necessarily have a body there. You can see this one is on a kiosk stand. So we can do freestanding kiosks as well, or we can do countertop. So this is also that Grove Express that I spoke about. So this is where they're able to come in, scan their orders. They can be able to quickly and easily place that order. And then they just took the Apex food lockers. Apex is the food locker company that we partnered with for this. And they were just put different skins on it just to give it a look and a feel that they wanted to go with their atmosphere. This is another view of one of their different outlets. You can see that they have the bar on this side, but really being able to come and order from all of those outlets. And the nice thing about this implementation is they really pushed out the location of where the different kiosks were. And what that does is it avoids and it spreads out the traffic, right? It avoids bottlenecks at the counters themselves. So the only time they're coming to the counter is when they're actually ready to pick up that order and be able to have that order ready for them to pick up and it really just alleviates a lot of that bottlenecking. You can see they also spread out the kiosks pretty far from each other, again, alleviating that. And then if any one of those kiosks was busy at the time, they also have the option, of course, of being able to order from their own phone. So that can help with that bottlenecking as well. So you don't have that bottlenecking at the kiosk. And here's a little bit more zoomed in view. You can really see kind of how spread out those kiosks are in this different location. You can see now these are the guests going up to the kiosk, really just being able to handle the business needs without having to occupy your staff that are working the profit centers. All they have to worry about is fulfilling orders now. You also do have the option of, say there was a mistake or somebody maybe double ordered something. Because this is just one singular system, we can run our point of sale where you can do a refund, maybe on a tablet like an iPad, and I can be able to do a refund from that iPad. Again, just giving the flexibility of not having to have a real traditional point of sale setup when it comes to implementing within this. So you can see this really allows for a lot more throughput and a lot more revenue to be able to come. I can be able to, again, none of these kiosks are dedicated to each one of these profit centers. They're sitting in front of them, so it does help associate like, oh, let me look up there. I like the way this pizza place looks. But I can also order from a different location from every kiosk. So again, that just gives you the flexibility that maybe a traditional point of sale wouldn't, right? A traditional point of sale would be located just within the pizza place, and they can only order from the pizza place here. This allows them to order from the pizza place, or they can order from the grill, or they can order from the Thai. So it really gives you that flexibility and that speed of service. Another location that we've implemented kiosks with was within the famous foods street eats at Resorts World. So you can see how flexible this is depending upon really what you're looking to do. One of the major hangups that Resorts World had was they had so many concepts that their previous kiosk provider really had issues with showing all of those concepts on one singular kiosk. The kiosks were actually going down. They were having to constantly reset the server on a daily basis as part of their practice. And then once we were able to implement with them, we showed them that we really had the ability to be able to handle all of their needs, and it really streamlined their operations, made it a lot easier, really showcasing the true product that they're trying to deliver with these kiosks. That's really what it comes down to, right? You as a casino, you are really just trying to deliver a really nice product. Whether it's Yaamava, whether it's Resorts World, whether it's Aria, everybody wants to deliver a great product and have their guests feel customer satisfaction. And that really comes to having good technology behind that product. So you could see also just put them in front as well. So if people were to walk up, they wanted to have them to be able to order directly in front. So you have flexibility for how you want to implement those different kiosks. They also made these square place kiosks really back to back where I can be able to order. The more places that you are able to expose those kiosks, there's more touch points that you're able to give your guests. Again, these kiosks can have screensavers to really grab your guests' attention and make them want to be able to come up, touch the screen. Closed. You can use a different or maybe again signing up for loyalty points or utilizing those loyalty points. Another location that we have implemented kiosks as well is at Proper Eats Food Hall and Aria. They also did kiosks with the online ordering. So no matter if a kiosk is busy or not, somebody can always scan from their own table and be able to order from there. They also had them placed on wall mounted for their different columns. But again, being able to service all of their different locations within their food court, being able to even place different orders for different locations at the same time. Then once those orders are complete, the orders come into your kitchen. Your kitchen, like I said, we can do a mix of whether it's tickets or whether it's the actual KDS. Here you can see the order tickets are coming in, and she's using the KDS really just as a fulfillment. Once the orders are ready, she puts them across this line with their receipts, and then she goes ahead and she's able to tap that screen and be able to say that that order is fulfilled. The guest receives a text message, or they're looking at the order screen above, and they're able to come up and pick up those different orders. So a couple different ways we can implement kiosks. Kiosks can be on podiums. They can be horizontal. They can be vertical. If you have a food hall or a place that has a salad bar, we can do weighted items. They can be placed on a countertop to be able to maybe just replace the order taking person. Maybe you have a tough time having cashiers show up and actually work. So you can turn those, instead of having those be not in customer facing, you can turn those around, have them be client facing. The clients can put in their own order. They can be able to redeem their own points and place the order and pay for it, and then just get that text message once that is ready for pickup. And then you can have different menus within that order. You're not limited to only doing one different menu from these. You really truly have the flexibility of ordering any different types of ways that you can imagine a kiosk can order. This is just showcasing some of those same 27-inch, the tall kiosks, being placed on a countertop. And it really showcases what you can do marketing-wise with these kiosks. You can actually tell it's transitioning to a different picture here. Again, really just grabbing that customer's attention, really inviting them to come up and order from there, where they can be able to see that different imagery based for those different profit centers. This can be done in coffee shops. Again, really just streamlining the way that you're running your operations, reducing staff workload on taking orders, and really focusing on just using them to fulfill those different orders. This is another example that we have of wall-mounted kiosks. The wall-mounted kiosks actually have scales on them as well. So this was in a salad bar where there's weighted items, and then it can come in, be able to ring in those different items and be able to have them weighed and charge for them. Again, without really the need for staff. Maybe you just have one floater person just walking around, being able to assist people with inputting those orders and helping with those orders. And you can truly, really bring this into your concept as well. You can see this location called Crave. They were really able to just kind of truly build to make this kiosk look and fit as part of the natural flow for this profit center. Again, just having a nice flow like this really is inviting to the guests. It really helps them come in and want to interact with the kiosk and then be able to fulfill those orders. You can actually see we have a KDS back there, and that's where they manage all those orders. They're able to place them on this rack once the order is ready for pickup, and then they text that guest, and they are able to hand that order over to the guest. And that brings up one other conversation subject is that really having those food lockers. So if you're in a very, very busy environment, food lockers can give you additional space for where the guests can come pick up. Maybe this rack gets too busy. So I need to be able to maybe put some lockers here on the right-hand side where they can come and pick up those from. Those food lockers help with that. They help preserve the food. They also help make sure the right person is getting the order because they have to get their code on their phone to be able to input that order to open that food locker as well. So kiosks, again, can be horizontal. They can be vertical. We have a myriad of sizes. We actually even just certified outdoor kiosks as well. So we have some certified outdoor kiosks and different platforms really to meet the needs of what you're looking for within the business. This is one creative way. Another one of our different locations wanted to do their online pickup. They didn't want to do the Apex lockers. They just didn't have the space for them. So what they decided to do was create different cubbies right on top of their order pickup counter. So essentially doubling the space of their pickup counter and having these different sections for where their guests can come and pick up, and they can follow along with the different screen to see which orders are ready for pickup, and of course be able to get that text message or follow along on their phone for those pickup orders. So again, couple different types of kiosks that you can have. And again, these can all come with podiums. They can be wall mounted, or they can be tabletop as well. And you will see, or you have seen in those different pictures of those implementations, how those different kiosks really can be implemented in different ways across your center. Kind of flew through there a little bit. We're on Q&A now. I want to see, is there any questions in the chat here?
I don't see any questions right away, but I have a couple that came in through the Q&A feature. And one is, what kind of data should I be collecting today if I'm looking at a kiosk in the future? And maybe I'm thinking this would refer to like long-term decision-making, security, scalability, things like that.
Yeah. Hey, this is Thor. So I think that from a consulting approach, we should always consider, what your revenue is today. What is the, environment that you're selling at? As an example, do you have a sit-down restaurant? Is it a grab and go? The revenues that are coming from there, and how often are, what is the average check, to have an understanding, how do we increase that check? As an example, real life situation is, I've got a coffee shop that's pretty busy. Okay. So you think that because it's busy, that it's optimizing its revenue. We could add to that revenue if someone could just take an order, right? So they can just pick up. So with the same amount of labor, the force that you have at that coffee shop, you've now increased the amount of transactions that are occurring during that time because people have a way of ordering it outside of just walking up to the counter. So those are the things that we can take a look at. So there's two data points that I would consider, is the revenue that's being currently generated, and then what is that source, what type of outlet is it? And then we then can consult and help increase that revenue.
For this project that Ricky was going to speak on, like, what was the time frame from when they, kind of took some of that data and that information and like implementation was actually, it was implemented?
Yeah, sure. So I think one of the things that we have to sort of ensure that we have proper information, I should say. Now, obviously, Yaamava is one of the busiest casinos from a gaming perspective in the country. They're massive, right? So for them, their big take is, how do we take what we have today, based on the revenue that we're generating? how do we increase that revenue through technology, right? So there was a multi-step process in doing that. First thing is, obviously they spoke to Ryan, who is their sales rep, and then we scheduled a discovery call because we want to ensure we understand A, what their layout is, B, what is the traffic flow, because they needed to provide for us what is the outcome of technology that you're looking for. And for them, it's very simple. We start with a very big idea. We want to ensure our guests have the capability of ordering outside of just coming up to a traditional server, sit-down restaurant. How do we increase that? Okay. So then we, as they were opening up new outlets, we said, you know what, this is a good idea. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna create this little kiosk area, like a food hall, where we can take orders from that kiosk. And then we had multiple calls with them. And typically for a property of their size, again, this is to scale, it's probably a good, 90 to 180 days from the start of conversation to the start of implementation. So depending on size, depending on the number of outlets, obviously that does have bearing on the actual, time frame that that we're talking about here.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I see a question from David. Is mobile ordering done through a mobile website or is it done through a web app? And is there an ability to embed mobile ordering into our own app? So absolutely. Our mobile ordering is flexible. We can white label an app if you wanted to white label an app and have your own dedicated mobile ordering food app. If you already have an app, then we can definitely embed our mobile ordering into your app. We can do an SSO with it so that once your patrons are already logged into the app, it just pushes over their data to us, whether it's the name, telephone number, it signs them in so they're able to save their preferences or their favorite items, save their allergens. So you're truly recognizing that guest on their own phone. And then they can be able to place the order and be able to use their points, etc., on that as well. And in addition, for those that are non-guests, they can be able to scan that QR code and be able just to have a web responsive app. That really takes away the burden of making them download an app, maybe. They don't want to download an app. They're just visiting the first time. They want to scan a QR code. I go right into ordering my food. I place my order and my order's done. So yes, David, the answer is we can do really all three of those.
Yeah. So if I can add additional color for the tribal casinos that are on this call, one of the things that we're not talking about here is the reasons why, right? Why is kiosk important? Why is mobile ordering important, right? And a lot of it has to do with labor. We understand, and we are very, we see across the country, there are labor shortages. People have left the industry for whatever reason, right? So trying to do more with less is a big piece of consulting that we do for a lot of the tribal casinos that we work with. I think that the ability for us to have that experience and on demand is one of those, right? When we take a look from an overall Agilysys strategy standpoint, we look through two lenses, right? The first lens is that of the customer, the patron. We want to ensure that they have an experience, and especially today, in today's world, being able to order where they want, how they want, and when they want. Okay, that's paramount for that patron experience. Conversely, we also look through the lens of the staff. How do we make their lives easier through technology? So those are two equally important pain points that we try to resolve and ensure that experience is optimized. And from that, we now have things such as on demand. We have the kiosk. What we're showing you here also is the ability for us to go out and create a food court where, you know what? I can take order from multiple outlets. I can charge on my credit card, one bill, and I can get text messages that are sent to my phone for pizza, for a salad, and for ice cream. All are on one bill, all under different outlets from a food standpoint, but it allows me that transaction, and it increases that revenue, and also allows for the non-friction that many of our customers are trying to overcome. And that's just a simple thing that we support today.
David, I wanted to ask you just a quick question also. What are some typical hurdles you see when working with a customer to implement this new technology, and what can be done to avoid them ahead of time?
Yeah, I can take that one. I'll put my sales hat on. I think one of the first things that, anyone who wants to find a solution, right? We typically get a response that, hey, we need this tool. It's the coolest thing. It's a shiny new object. My GM saw this and he's all hot to bother and wants to learn more about it, right? Which is great. As a salesperson, I love those things that come to me, right? Mm-hmm. But some of the hurdles that we try to overcome is when we meet with certain team members, right? We want to ensure that we need a particular outcome, right? That's what we work on. That's where when David, myself, we put on our consultant hat. Because to me, once we have that outcome, because that's typically discussed internally so that everyone's aligned on the same goals, we then can come in and provide a solution based on that outcome. So as an example that we use for an on-demand, right? That coffee shop is a great example that I gave you. So this coffee shop, in all intents and purposes, whenever we pass by, the GM say, well, this is really busy. We must be generating a ton of revenue. But then he looks at the report and says, well, it seems, how do we increase this revenue? Well, the outcome is we want to increase the ability for the patrons to be able to order outside of just having to go to the coffee shop. And in doing so, we will increase the revenue for that through the technology, and that technology happens to be on demand. So that's a great example of that. Make sense?
Awesome. Thank you for your insights on that, David. I appreciate it.
I bet you guys have had since you've started doing the installs, looking at some of the insights and the data that you've been able to work with some of your partners on, after install have influenced future installs. You know what I mean? Just we found that this and this data showed us this. Do you have any examples of that, or even from a tribe?
Yeah. So this is Thor. Here's a great example. So we had a partner of ours who had multiple outlets, right? And they implemented on demand. So they saw the number of transactions from this particular outlet going up, right? However, what was discerning to them was that the average check went down. So when they looked at the numbers, what they found out is this. It happened to be a steakhouse, by the way, is that people would order their dinner. So the check there was, say, $200. But then they got all these other small checks for, 15, 20, 16, 10. Well, what is happening is once people got back to their room, they ordered dessert. So the average check went down because of the transactions, right? The smaller check amounts. But the revenue was going up due to these incremental orders that they had. So that's a pretty cool story about how on-demand actually allowed for, that guilt. I'm not going to have that pound cake or that cheesecake because I just had a big fat steak. But once I go into the room, it's no guilt when I order it, right?
Give me my lava cake. We just got another question in through the Q&A asking, how would this benefit a food court where 90% of our sales are grab and go directly, to the cashier?
So Tim, explain to me what it means when our grab and go and go straight to the cashier.
I think I could pick that up.
Okay.
So our kiosks can be set for not only for ordering, but they can be set for self-checkout. So imagine you have a grocery store where I'm just going and scanning my items. You can be able to have multiple kiosks, just like the grocery store has, and really just have one attendant really helping with, maybe 4 different places for them to be able to check out. We also can do things like, I'm not sure if anybody knows the concept of Wawa, but where you can go to one kiosk, maybe order a sandwich, and then it prints out a receipt, and then you go and pick up your other items, a bag of chips, a soda, a Red Bull, and then you go to a final kiosk to be able to check out once that sandwich is assembled. So we do have all of the different kind of kiosk workflows that you may have seen out there in the wild, that can really help. Again, it's really about, like Thor said, is that labor savings. How much throughput can you get without adding additional labor? So I definitely can see that helping even in a grab and goes type of environment.
Did that answer your question, Tim?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay.
If not, let us know. We can talk more about it. We've got a few more minutes here. I don't see any other questions, but I did put in both of your emails in the chat. So if anybody on the call has, questions you think about afterwards, feel free to reach out to David or Thor, or you can always reach out to us here at TribalHub as well. And we can definitely put you in touch with somebody to be able to answer that. So I'll give it a couple more minutes for questions, but if not, I think we can probably wrap it up. David, Thor, is there anything you wanted to say as we kind of close out here?
No, other than, again, we appreciate everyone's time. By all means, we're here and available to you at any time. And the quickest way is either you can email me directly, or talk to you. Most of you have a Agilysys representative who you can also contact, and they'll eventually contact me anyway. So it's up to you. But yes, we do look forward to hearing from you, and we do appreciate your time.
Awesome. Oh, Tim said yes, that answered his question. So sweet, good.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yes. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for attending and for coming to our webinar today. You should all get an email in the next 24 hours with a link to this recording. So if somebody on your team didn't attend and you want them to get the information, feel free to forward that to them. And I guess with that, have a good afternoon, everybody.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.